This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2022 Cruiser travel trailer, and it's a 27 RBS. So this is a how-to video, not a sales video. So I'm just going to show you some of the components and how they work, okay? So here are, excuse me, on the door side rear. So this has power stabilizers on it. You have one switch controls both rear stabilizers, and then up front you'll have another switch that operates both of the front. Now obviously you don't lift the trailer with this. You're just going to take the wiggle out of it, get it nice and stable. Now I want to show you over here that excuse me again, that you can crank these manually if you need to. So if you come over to the off door side here, there's a shaft with a pin through it. They give you a crank with it that you can actually use to crank them in an emergency. So let me walk up and make sure it's where it's supposed to be here. Yes. Let me get this out of the way. Hold on one second, please. Okay. So this one here, you can see is a cylinder with a slot cut in it, and that fits over that shaft, or that pin with the shaft through it. So, or shaft with a pin through it actually. So you can crank those manually. Now this crank here is for your power tongue jack. In case it fails, you can, if it fails, you can pull this rubber plug here, put this on there, and crank it manually too. So there's both two ways to get out of trouble there. Okay, now back to where we were. So you got a power awning with LED strip, outside speakers, of course. This is your water heater here. The water heater tank, if you don't know, is connected to this. It's just on the other side of this inside the trailer. So this works on both gas and electric. The switches to operate it are inside the trailer. I'll show you those when we get in there. Never run it without water in the tank. You know, so let's say you were camping in the spring, and of course it has water in it, and then when you get back you drain the water out because you're not camping till the fall. Well, make sure you put water in it before you start it up in the fall, because you don't want to damage it, okay? This is the drain cap right here. It takes an inch and a 6-point socket, so that's where you would drain the water out of the water heater right there, okay? I'll show you the switches when we get inside. Alrighty. Seem to have some allergies going here. Please bear with me. This is the range hood vent. If you're venting to the outside with the fan and the range hood, make sure that baffle in there is flapping freely. If it doesn't seem like it's venting properly, get up there on a ladder and make sure it moves freely. Okay, that's something that you have to do manually occasionally, so please remember that. This is TV hookups here, cable and satellite on this one, and there's power here, so you can put a TV out here if you choose to. Down here, this, let me see if we can see it here. Let me move my monitor a bit. Yeah, that, crap. Let me get down here. Yeah, this gate valve, the white gate valve, that's the drain for your fresh water tank. So you can drain that there. Those two valves next to it are the low point drains. That's the lowest point of the plumbing. You pay attention to that when you're winterizing and de-winterizing the trailer. So keep that in mind. Okay. You have a dorm type refrigerator here. Okay. Now this obviously is a grill here, right? The thing to remember about this is it has to be plugged in. So I'll just show you the end of it here. Please bear with me. Excuse me. This is a male end of a quick connect LP fitting. So you have to remember to plug this in before you use it. Plug it into the LP system. So right here you can see that's the quick connect right there. So you plug the male end into that quick connect, and it'll then it will draw the LP from the system itself, from the front tanks. Okay. Also, and there's the switch for the two front stabilizers. This is your hitch here. It's a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. So it's a good one. We'll show you how that works when you pick up your trailer. Okay. As we go up front here to the tongue, you have two LP tanks which are full. You have your power tongue jack here, of course, with it's got a hitch light on it, and then up and down. Okay. You have a deep cycle marine battery, brand new, and this is the kill switch for the battery right here. So if you want to shut the battery off, disconnect it from the trailer itself, you can just turn that to the off position. Let's say you have it in storage for the winter, or any period of time, you can shut it off there. Just so you know, this little hookup here is in case you wanted to purchase a solar battery charger, it would plug right in there, and it's just a portable little solar panel. All right. So right here we have your dump hose, and then we have a reducer for your power cord. Up here, just so you can know, this is saying it's prepped for a power inverter, right? It's also prepped for a solar panel, so that means the wires are there. Also, when you get up on the roof, there's going to be another hookup for solar panel on the roof. Of course, this is your sprayer faucet type deal. The most common way to get water to the trailer now is the city water hookup. So you just hook the hose onto there, turn it on, and the trailer's ready to be used. Now, if you're camping someplace that does not have plumbing on the campsite, let's say in some of the older state parks, they got like a fill station when you first go through the gate by the ranger station there, but nothing on the campsite, you can stop there and fill your fresh water tank right here, and then use the onboard pump to pump the water. So everything will work as though you have fresh water, or as though you have city water, but you'll actually be pumping it from the tank. Now this is a black tank flush here. Like it says here, only use this flush when the black tank valve is in the open position. So let's go find it here. Let me see. That's probably the gray. Let me look back here. Yeah, so it has two gray tanks. So this will have a galley tank, and then the sink and shower, or excuse me, the lavatory sink and shower. Two different tanks for those, for the kitchen faucet and then the bathroom. And then you have the black tank, of course. The black tank is toilet water and waste. So you can see the valves right up there. Now, if you want to use the flush, you will leave the black tank valve open after you dump it. Then you go put the hose on at the hookup back here, and it'll spray out the inside of your black tank. It'll clean off the sensors so you get a good accurate reading. So it's a really good thing to do. If they've got a working hose at the dump station, I recommend doing it every time. It's really a good thing. A lot of times at dump stations the hose will be run over or something, but if it's not, use that. Okay? So, just so you know, there are different types of slide outs. The one you have here is called an AccuSlide. It's got the cable system, just so you know, that's an AccuSlide. Like I said, there's the second gray tank right there, the dump for it, and then there's another one next to the black tank back here. So the two gray tanks. Okay. So this is where your satellite and your cable hook up right here. It's showing you that it's boosted, so you got a power booster right there, and two coaxes. So this has a 50 amp system, so this is a 50 amp power cord. We give you the reducer with it to reduce it down to a 30 amp system, you see right there, and then I showed you the other one up front that'll even reduce it down to a 20. So you can hook up to just about anything. Now as we look up, this has a backup camera. We'll show you how that works when you pick up your trailer. Basically, when you turn your running lights on, not the automatic one that senses the daylight and that sort of thing. You have to physically turn it on. So if you, after you physically turn it on, it'll light up the camera. You can see when you're backing up, or some people leave it going down the road so you can see behind you. It's up to you. We'll talk about that when you pick up. This has a ladder. The manufacturer states that you should inspect the roof every 90 days. So someone needs to go up there. You can walk up there. You walk around. Be very careful, of course. Check out the lap sealant up there. Make sure there's no cracking or separation anywhere. You know, it could be years before you see any issues and you have to touch it up, but that's why you inspect it, just to protect your investment. Odds are you won't have to do anything for a long time, but you don't know that for sure, so you inspect it. Also look at the roof attachments and roofing material. Make sure it hasn't been damaged by low branches or by road debris flying up there, that sort of thing, okay? That's important. As trailer maintenance goes, winterizing is important, obviously, but inspecting the seals is a very important thing. People tend not to do it enough. Okay. So this is all. He hasn't put this back on yet. He's still working on it. Normally, this is here is fastened to here. It's fastened with two number 2 square-headed screws. Everything in the trailer is held on by number 2 square-headed screws. So if you don't have that bit for your drill, you got to get one. But the reason he left it off is because you can see that this is the water heater tank that I talked to you about, and on the back of the tank are 2 valves. These are the bypass valves. So yeah, if you don't, you may know all this already. I just don't know if you do or not. So the thing is, when you winterize, you can't get antifreeze into the water heater tank because it leaves a really foul taste. It's just a bad thing. And so you can bypass the water heater with those valves before you pump the antifreeze into the system. Okay. And then of course when you de-winterize, you'll hook up fresh water, force all the antifreeze out of the system, then you'll put these from bypass into camping mode and it'll fill up the water heater tank. So make sure you bypass it. Okay, so we'll go this way. Your TV works like any other TV, except it has other features. It has 2 zones, 2 speaker zones. It has FM radio, Bluetooth, and HDMI plugs on it. Your radio, your radio is built in. It's an FM radio, just FM. So it's all built into your system. The thing to remember, let me look here. I gotta pull this out. This is hopefully I gotta move the camera here because I gotta use both hands here. I'm having a hard time. Well, I guess I can't do it with the way I'm doing it. All I need to tell you is, let me feel this back here. Okay, so this one's good. A lot of times there's a button on this little hook up here to turn your signal booster on and off. This doesn't have it because you got the powered signal booster back where you hook the cables up, the coax cables up. So you don't have to worry about it with this one. So okay, now your control panel is very simple. You have your slide room in and out, your power awning in and out. Never leave the awning out unattended, of course. Always roll it in when you're not at the campsite. These are lights here. You turn your water pump on like that. The water pump is for pumping water out of the fresh water tank. If you don't have city water, it's also used to winterize the trailer. You light your water heater on gas right here. You turn it on electric right here. And then these are tank heaters. All of your holding tanks, your 2 gray tanks and your black tank and your fresh water tank all have heating pads on it. So you can extend your camping season in both the fall and the spring. So you turn those on that way and the waste or fresh water in your tanks won't freeze, okay? Which is a really good feature. Batteries charged. Fresh water has got a third in there because we're still prepping it up. You only have 1 toilet, so you just use black tank number 1. You don't have to, you could disregard number 2 tank. And then you have the 2 gray tanks. This one is for the bathroom sink and shower. And then the other gray tank, they call it a galley, or it's abbreviated galley, which is for your kitchen sink over here, and you test it there. So they basically, as they fill, they graduate up in 1/3 increments. So once you get past 2/3, you're gonna have to start thinking about dumping the gray and the black tanks. Okay. Now there is a remote for the TV, obviously, and there's also a remote for this fireplace here. You must have them put away, so we'll make sure they're in there for you. But turn it on like that. It's a space heater. It's really kicking out right now. It's got a fan in it. It's a great thing in the sense that you have a limited supply of LP gas, so on those mornings or evenings or days when you don't quite need the furnace, you can run this. It uses campground electricity. It's not going to use your LP. So let's see what we got here. This one changes the colors of the crystals, obviously. This one changes the intensity of the whole thing. And let me see what this one is. This should be a thermostat. Let me see. Let me get down here and look. There's a readout right here. This is where you set the temperature for the thermostat. You'll set it with this button and you'll see it there. Okay. It does have a remote with it also. Okay. So the refrigerator is a gas absorption refrigerator. That means it'll run, you see it's nice and cold, it'll run on both 110 AC and LP gas. So the most common way to run it, I know you can't see very well up here, so the options are auto or gas, right? Or there's a check light if the gas doesn't light, but auto or gas. Auto means electric. The reason they call it auto is because if it can't find electricity, it'll automatically switch over to gas so you don't spoil the food. Excuse me. Therefore, if you leave the campground for the day to go exploring somewhere, it's a hot day, soon after you leave, the power at the campground goes out, it'll sense that and automatically switch over to gas so you don't spoil your food. So auto is where you're going to run it most of the time. That's on and off, obviously. The only other thing to know is this is called oh boy, excuse me. This is called a thermistor right here, and it's on the end of this wire here. There's a cylinder, right? The cylinder is tucked into this clamp. This clamp just comes on and off. You could pull a thermistor right out. If it ever comes out, you just tuck it back in. But the idea is, the higher you go with it, the cooler the refrigerator is. So you want this wire to be taut, and that's generally how you're going to run it. I mean, if it's getting colder outside, you can back it down if it starts to frost up. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to have the thermistor up all the way. Okay? Alright, so this is your microwave. It has a built-in fan. I showed you the vent on the outside. I told you make sure that the baffle's flapping freely if it's not venting good for you. Also has 2 speeds for the fan and a light. Now, I don't know if you turned the gas on here, so if not, I'll just talk you through it. So this is the sparker here. You turn this clockwise to spark it. Then you have, of course, you have 3 knobs and 3 burners, and then you have the oven over here. So let's see what we got here. Okay. Right there. So the gas is on. So you just spark it by turning it clockwise and it lights. Okay. You also have an ambient light, and then it's also an oven light down there. Okay. Now to light the oven is a little bit different. At the very bottom, all the way to the back, is a pilot light. You can see me, or the reflection of me sparking it anyway. What you're going to do is you go to the oven knob and you go to the picture of the flame, which means pilot, and you depress it. You keep it depressed over the whole lighting procedure. Then you're gonna turn this sparker clockwise until the pilot light down here lights. After it lights, you hold it in for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. Then you go to operating temperature. It cycles as an oven does. When you shut it off, the flame goes out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. And always travel with this glass top closed. Sometimes they will break if it's open. Okay, so this device here is your power converter. The converter converts 110 AC to 12 volt DC. So when you're plugged into shore power, these are your circuit breakers just like you'd see at home, right? And they're labeled right here. Then the power, that's 120 AC, then the power's converted to 12 volt DC over here. You got 12 volt fuses, and they're all labeled, right? If any of these fuses were to blow, they'll actually light up a bit. You can see them through this tinted plastic, okay? But another function of this is it's a battery tender, so it'll always keep your battery charged. So as long as you're plugged in, it's going to sense how much energy your battery has and needs, and act accordingly. If the battery's topped off, it'll just send a couple amps to trickle charge it to keep it topped off, and if it's low, it can send 10 amps or whatever it needs. So it will always keep your battery charged when you're plugged in. Now, when you're pulling the trailer down the road, your tow vehicle's alternator will be charging the battery. So you always want that. I told you there's a switch to shut the battery off. You always want to leave that on because obviously the battery won't charge if you disconnect it. So the only time you shut that off is when you go into storage or something. Alright, so this device here is your carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be green. If not, get it serviced. It's important. If it detects carbon monoxide or LP gas, it will alert you. If that happens, take everybody outside, leave the door open, shut the gas over the front, figure out what's going on. Also, if it beeps very slowly, the same tone but very slowly, it's telling you your battery is low. I can put it through the test so you can hear what it sounds like. LP is good, carbon monoxide coming up. And then the low battery alert. And back to green. Like I said, if it's not green, get it serviced. It's very important. Just looking around here to see what's what here. Okay, so your keys are hanging right here. This is a Gfci. There's probably 2 of them in this trailer, one in the bathroom and one here. All of the plugs on the trailer, including the one outside, will be wired through a Gfci, so one of the 2. So if you're using a coffee pot or a hairdryer or something outside, for example, in the pops, you'd be setting it in here at one of the 2 locations. Okay, so let me look around, see what I forgot, if anything. No, we're looking good. Okay, so you can drop this table down onto these cleats right here and turn it into a bed. You can use the back cushions to fill in the space. So that's an extra bed. You have 2 theater seats. They have they're powered, so you can see the backrest and everything, and the footrest. It's all powered. Okay. Your thermostat is pretty straightforward. You hit the mode button to light it up, and then you'll just go through. I'm not going to bother. I'll just tell you. You next punch it once, and it'll go to fan. The fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor. It just circulates air. Then if you hit it again, it'll go to cool, which is air conditioning. You hit it again, it will go to furnace, which is your LP furnace, or maybe it'll say heat. The thing is, when it comes to the air conditioning, it'll give you options to high, low, and then low auto and high auto. Always use the auto fan when you're using the air conditioning. It's the best way to go. So always set the fan to auto if they give you the option. This is just pre-wired for a Wi-Fi antenna for a booster. There's also going to be a port on the roof that where you can put the antenna, which is pre-wired. Now, it's a big bathroom, obviously. Now, I mentioned that there was probably a Gfci in the bathroom, but there's not. So, apparently everything's wired through just this one. Okay. The sink and the shower work like any other sink and shower. You have a vent here, a fan. Now, the toilet works like every other RV toilet in that the black tank is directly below. There's the flush pedal right there. The black tank is directly below. Right? So, when you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water, you come inside. You can't use the toilet dry. By dry we're talking about nothing in the black tank, right? So you have to put water and chemical in it. So you put 1 dose of water in the bowl, or excuse me, 1 dose of chemical in the bowl. You'll step on this and to keep it long enough to put at least a gallon of water in there. And after that, you're all set to use it. If you use it dry, the smell will be overwhelming. It'll be just one of those things you only do once. And also, it can get clogged up. So you always want water and chemical in there before you start using it. That's important. This is pre-wired and plumbed. There's another GFCI. These GFCIs are for the washer-dryer combo, so they're not part of the actual system that the GFCI by the sink has hooked up to it. So this is plumbed and wired for a washer-dryer combo or a stackable. So you can take these shelves out and you can put a stackable washer dryer combo in there if you want, and otherwise use it for a closet. Okay, let me look around and see if I forgot anything. Tend to get ahead of myself sometimes. Okay, so this one has 2 air conditioners. That's why it's a 50 amp system. The second air conditioner you run with these knobs here. This one here is a thermostat. The other one is your your fan speed and your air conditioning speed, just like a window air conditioner is. So this air conditioner here will turn this. If you turn it up all the way, it'll turn this into an ice cube in here. It really works well. You can add another TV up here if you want. You get there's a backer plate for a bracket. You would get the bracket that swings out this way so you can see it from the bed. Always try to spend the extra money and get the mounting bracket that locks into place. That way you don't have to use straps on it. Otherwise, if it flows freely, you have to put straps up there also. This is the there's no switch on this one either, so you don't have to worry about it. But this is where your hookup's at, and there's your power for a TV. Alrighty. There's storage underneath the bed, of course. And then this is your escape window. If you need to escape, you push this all the way through. Then you grab a hold of the red tab and pull the screen out. You can exit that way. Now, another thing, these are obviously your blinds go up and down. Now, if they ever start falling down on their own, like they're not stiff enough to stay up, you can always, let's say you're traveling out west somewhere, you're not going to go for a dealer, but what you have to do is you have to tighten these here, one of them anyway. And you see there's a screw there. You can pull it through, tie a knot in it. Just tighten it up a little bit, not a lot. And if you do that, they'll stay in place, just so you know. You can also, if it's not working, you can bring it into a dealer, but if you're traveling, obviously you don't want to do that. So keep that in mind that you can adjust these. Never adjust them too tight or you'll break the string and then you have to get a new blind. So keep that in mind. You have those same blinds on all the windows. Okay, smoke detector. Okay, all right. So let me just look where you're. I think he put the remotes in here, I suppose. Bear with me a second. Yeah, there they are. So your remotes are in the bag there. This is the rest of your backup camera. This will go in your tow vehicle. You have the screen here. You plug it into the cigarette lighter, and you're all set. It'll connect automatically and show you everything that's happening behind you. Okay? All right. So thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof every 90 days. That's important. Also, like I stated earlier, this trailer is in camping mode now. It's been de-winterized, so all the antifreeze has been purged from the system. The water heater is in camping mode now and filled with water, so you're all set, ready to go. Always remember to not run your water. If you're going to run the water here, to make sure there's water in it. You can do that by hooking up your city water, your hose, and then you just turn on a hot faucet. And if air comes out, well, then that water heater is not full at that point. So you just leave it, and air will come out. Then it'll be a combination of air and water spitting out, and then eventually you'll get a solid stream of water. That's how you know that it's full. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.